This is unique.
Yeah.
This has never been done before.
Never.
They said it couldn't be done, but it's going to be done.
Hi.
Hello, everybody.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I was talking to them.
Oh, sorry.
Welcome back to another episode of Ohno.
Yes, welcome back.
Where every week Jack and I write original stories and read them to each other, and then we look shocked, and then we explain the story behind the story, if you like.
Well, we don't just look shocked. We are shocked.
We are shocked. And this week, it's Jack.
It is, and I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
And before we even get into it, there's sort of there's a first that's about to happen today. There's something unique is about to happen on Ohno that hasn't happened in all the months we've been doing this.
Let's not spoil it, though.
We're not. But that's an enticement.
Yeah, that's good. This is unique.
Yeah.
This has never been done before.
Never.
They said it couldn't be done, but it's going to be done.
It's going to be done.
We're going to do it.
But one thing that always stays the same is the hype around the title. So Jack's going to give me the title now.
Hype-tal.
And you. Are you ready? Hype-tal. Very good.
Yes, I am. So, Daniel, my dear friend, the title to this week's episode is The Old Ones. Yeah, that nod's enough for me.
Yeah.
Let's get into it.
Yeah. Okay, I'm already in the mood. I'm already set.
Sam had been out of work for nearly 6 months now. It hadn't been for a lack of trying. In fact, ever since he'd been made redundant, he'd forced himself into the same routine. Showered and dressed by 8 AM, sat comfortably at the kitchen table with a hot mug of steaming coffee, pen and paper in hand, where he'd scour through the classified and advertisement sections of the Valley Reporter, Vermont's third biggest newspaper that just so happened to sell more advertising space than any other of their larger competitors. He'd taken the whole thing in his stride. He was young enough to come back from losing a solid entry-level job. He didn't have any wife or kids and didn't really have any expenditures given the fact that he was still holed up in his parents' house and they hadn't yet started pressing him into paying rent. He was lucky and he was thankful, but the job search hadn't exactly been fruitful in that regard. You see, Sam was a writer, and before he'd been pulled into the office of the Burlington Free Press, he'd figured himself set for the rest of his career. A few local columns here, a few junior editorials there, and before he knew it, he'd be ploughing into investigative journalism nationwide, blowing the lid on the next Watergate or the next big pharmaceutical fabrication that no one would dare plunge into. But as he'd so often read from Steinbeck, the best laid plans of mice and men gang after gley, and things hadn't exactly planned out the way that he'd have liked. At the start, Sam worked his way through pretty much every printing house in the state, nearly every journalistic body in the whole of New England, and after the first few weeks of hearing nothing back, he began to lose heart. That's when he began pinching his resume, chopping and changing pieces to make himself sound more desirable to law firms, local council offices. He'd even applied for an administration job at a dentist. Nothing. Then came the service industry jobs, bartender, prep chef, host, server. Again, nothing. Sam barely knew how to pull a pint, never mind fillet a red snapper or manage an evening dinner service. For warehouse work, he was too overqualified, and his dad didn't have any friends in construction who'd be willing to take him on as a labourer. It was all too much for him. And quickly, Sam began to panic. But just in the nick of time, that's when Sam saw a personal ad in the final few pages of the Valley Reporter's classified section. It read, "Wanted. Male live-in assistant in large estate property. Expenses paid plus monthly salary. Minimal daily care for elderly gentlemen. Interest in the arts, a bonus." If he was being honest, it piqued Sam's interest immediately. Minimal care, expenses paid, monthly salary, large estate property. It wasn't exactly the most desirable of occupations, but if he was being truly honest with himself, if it wasn't a writing position, Sam would have much rather have taken the easy route. And he did, because before he knew it, he was dialing the number at the bottom of the ad, and within 6 dull dial tones, A man's voice clicked on the line. "Abraham Thicket," it said. "How can I help?" Sorry. Hi there," said Sam. "I'm just replying to the advertisement in Friday's issue of the Reporter, the live-in assistant position. I'd just like to inquire as to..." You're not the first. I've been answering calls all day. My client is an elderly gentleman who has no intention of leaving his bedroom. Sadly for him, he lives in a property with 26 other rooms. Are you capable of cleaning?" Sam paused. Cleaning? Yes, yeah, I can clean." "Good," replied the man. "And how about cleaning precious works of art? Do you think you could avoid spilling bleach on a Rembrandt?" Bleach? Yes, of course, I'd just use a duster." "Well," said the man, "that's the best answer I've heard all day. Tell me, how are your conversational skills? Are you willing to never speak a word to my client despite any good intentions?" "Well," replied Sam, "if that's what's required, then yeah, of course." "Fantastic," he said. "How does $4,000 a month sound? Plus a living expense of, I don't know, $50 a day." Slack-jawed, Sam nearly swallowed his tongue at the offer. "Yes," he jolted back. "Yes, that sounds fantastic. When would you like me to start?" "Tomorrow," said Abraham Thicket. "Give me your address and I'll send a car to pick you up. 7 a.m. sharp. Be ready. My client rarely has the patience for tardiness." That evening, Sam couldn't entirely begin to believe the conversation that he'd had. In fact, he'd almost felt like he'd fallen victim to some bizarre prank, perhaps a comedian looking for material in the deeper depths of the advertisement section. But the very next morning, a sleek black estate car was parked outside of his parents' house. Without waking them, or even saying goodbye, Sam gently locked the front door behind him. In the dim, cool air of the New England morning, he opened the passenger side. And although he didn't know it then, in that moment, Sam's life changed forever. After what seemed like a journey of endless white pine trees, Vermont's most precious coniferous species, albeit rare and not often sighted amongst the roadside, Sam arrived at an estate that bordered on preposterous. It was huge, like nothing that he'd ever seen before, and after rumbling down a wide gravel driveway, the three wings of the property loomed in the horizon. Sam soon began to expect that a TV crew would burst out of the front door cheering and laughing and begin telling him that he'd been victim of an elaborate competition or prize. But instead, as Sam stepped out of the passenger side, the wide maroon front door of the property creaked open, and in the doorway stood an old man with a strangely comforting face that seemed kind in all of the right places. "Abraham Thicket," he declared, with his palm thrust forward to shake. "We spoke on the telephone." Sam slammed the car door shut. With his bag slung over his shoulder, he patted the side and stepped forward. He was nervous. Anyone would be, especially in the looming shadow of the largest property that he'd ever seen in his life. Sam trudged up the stonework and shook the man's hand. It was cold, like porcelain or long-forgotten plastic. "Pleasure to meet you," said Sam. "I must admit I didn't quite expect this after our conversation. It's quite something." Abraham smiled, his eyes shining bright despite the cloudy uncertainty of the New England afternoon. "No one does," he said. "Come, if you'd follow me, I can show you exactly what this job entails. Let me show you around your new home." The property was exactly as Sam expected. Grand marble staircases, rows and rows of priceless artwork that lined the corridors, everything that you'd imagine to be contained within a stately home. Rugs that seemed thicker than a bear's carcass, suits of arms of both steel and pewter and odd shades of white. Grand tapestries of strange scenes, hordes of people stood around a stack of firewood, a woman dressed in black lashed to the center post. It almost seemed as if the house was half-fitted, though. As the further Abraham Thicket showed him into the estate, the rooms became blank canvases, plain walls with white sheets strewn over furniture, boxes upon boxes firmly taped and sealed shut. As they passed what seemed like an endless series of the same played out scene, eventually Abraham led him to a long landing where the walls became thick wooden panels of dark oak and maroon chestnut, oddly shimmering in the low light, despite Sam not being able to spy any light fixtures or even candles. They came to a door firmly sealed in its frame with a bright golden sun made from an ore or stone that Sam couldn't quite place, adorned in the centre. "This is my client's room," said Abraham Thicket without the kindly tone that he'd possessed before. "Under no circumstances are you to enter this room. That is the only requirement of this working relationship. Do you understand? Under no circumstances." "And that's it?" sheepishly replied Sam. "I just live in the house and don't go in that room?" Abraham Thicket grinned, lolling his eyes and letting out a small gasp of a laugh. "Well, not entirely, of course. You'll have to assemble the house. In each room you will find a series of boxes. Over the next few weeks, work your way through the artwork and furniture. Arrange them as you wish. My client isn't particular on feng shui, shall we say. Make sure it's clean and dust-free, and I'll be keeping tabs on you whenever I can." "Right," replied Sam. "Sounds straightforward enough. Where would you like me to sleep? Is there a room free?" Abraham Thicket grinned again. "Take your pick," he said. "The house is yours for the time being." The next few days were relatively simple enough. Sam figured that the best way to tackle his newfound task was to work inward, starting from the already arranged front few rooms, and then taking each as he went deeper into the house. He unpacked boxes, he dusted portraits and paintings, he hung them on the walls. For the many rooms that had furniture, all it took was stripping the sheets and sprucing them up with a polishing cloth. At the beginning, Sam could have 4 or 5 rooms completely unpacked and ready for use. One of them that faced east was a huge bay windowed, bordered by the edge of a 4-posted bed, and it had become his bedroom, and Sam slept soundly on the most comfortable mattress that he'd ever lay upon. He'd sleep, he'd wake, he'd help himself to food in the pantry. Abraham Thicket had made sure that there was an ample supply of tin food and sundries. In fact, there was so much food stacked up that Sam started to wonder exactly what the $50 daily expenses were even for. He shrugged it off as a quirk of the wealthier side of living. After all, the task was easy enough. It was hard work, yeah, but it was simple, and most importantly, Sam was working. But after a week or so, at least he thought it had been a week, Sam started to doubt whether he was making any progress at all. It was strange. When he'd first spoken to Abraham Thicket, he could have sworn that he'd mentioned the estate having 26 unoccupied rooms. But if his maths were anything to go by, Sam had already cleared his way through at least 30. And by the middle of the second week, he was adamant that there had already been over 40 rooms that he'd unpacked, all with the same sequence of boxes and white dust sheets, all with their own unique layout and arrangement. But as soon as Sam had came to this bizarre realization, that's when he was adamant that the property was somehow shifting across its own foundation. The room that he'd taken as his bedroom had been 6 corridors away from the front lobby, the one with the suit of arms and the portrait of the burning witch. But this time, when he quickly paced toward the front entrance, to his strange surprise, that lobby was nowhere to be seen. In fact, the more fervently he tried to retrace his steps back toward the door that he came in from, that's when the jumble of rooms and corridors, entries and doorways started to make less and less sense. Every door he opened was the same display, taped up boxes and dust sheets. Even in rooms that he could have sworn he'd already assembled and cleaned, all of them back to the exact same state. Or were they new rooms? Sam started to second guess himself. Had he even been to this wing of the property yet? He was working his way inwards, but every new door that he opened seemed like it was on the outside of somewhere that he hadn't yet been to. But that's when the view outside each and every window frame started to dim, and Sam felt a strange, suffocating pang in the pit of his stomach. Outside the windows, the sky seemed to shift into a strange, pale yellow. He felt ill. His eyes were folding into themselves. He couldn't look up. And as his legs collapsed with every step, Sam's heart started to beat faster than it ever had before. He felt like an animal trapped inside a baited snare, panicking, willing to chew his own leg off to survive. If only he knew which way was up. Sam stumbled down dark wooden corridors, creasing his shoulder against the wall, crumbling himself into the house. He couldn't breathe, he could barely see. Yet as he fumbled his hands in front of him to find his way, Sam grasped hold of a door. It was cold to the touch, and it didn't seem to belong to any of the rest. It was metal, almost, but not the kind of metal that ever belonged inside a home. And before he knew it, Sam twisted it open, and he fell inside.
And for those of you who don't know, Sam's story will be returning on Thursday.
Or Sunday, we don't know yet. But
Yeah,
that was part one.
that was part one. That was the setup.
That was a really good setup. Yeah.
That was the setup.
I know we talked about this before, but I don't think you initially intended it for it to be a two-parter.
No.
But the pacing of it, which is probably something you realised, really lended itself to being a two-part story.
Yes.
Because it just started to pick up at the right moment there.
Yes.
Picked up in the last sort of 10-15%.
Yes. Yes.
But even though that was a half story, there's as much to unpack there as any video we've done.
Yeah.
If I was to go from the start.
See, this is fine because these can all be questions that will be answered.
Yeah, exactly. But the first thing I wanted to talk about was AT. Obviously, that's the sort of... Now, we alluded to that in a video ages ago. Some of our more observant viewers might notice something to do with the initials AT. Mm-hmm. So that was Alfred, was it?
There's been a few of them.
Yeah, but this one was... Oh, I've already forgotten.
Abraham Thicket.
Abraham Thicket.
Yeah.
And we've had Alfred Turnbridge, and we've had
and we've had Albert Todd,
and we've had Tenebrook,
and we've had Arthur Tenebrook.
So we've had a lot of characters in Jack's story with the AT, and initially all the way up to basically when Sam arrived at the house, I was getting really big ancestry vibes because when I made the AT link, I was like, the person in the room is going to be, and this is like a dangerous thing. You've already written the second part, so I do not want to guess it. I really don't.
This is good.
But I was getting those kind of vibes, like it's going to be her in there in some other form, and these children are all the same children that it's being viewed throughout all the things, and it's essentially you've done like in my mind, it's like sort of a Grim Tales or whatever, but with the same three characters. There's the child who's lost and looking for something. Mm-hmm. There's the old wizened servant, and there's the malevolent sort of mistress type thing. But that can also be. But all of those are interchangeable with male and females. But those are the three archetypes I think I'm starting to
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah. Am I getting somewhere?
Yes, you are. There is I will go out on a limb here and admit. No, I don't know whether I'll say it actually.
Yeah, no, don't. I mean,
no, I won't say it. I won't say it.
You don't have to answer that. I'm being the audience right now.
No, I know.
For those, I'm bringing everyone up to speed. That doesn't mean you have to answer it.
Yeah.
You can say whatever you want.
Oh yeah, exactly.
I'm just saying what I've observed. I'm not going to hide anything. You can hide whatever you want, but I'm not going to hide.
Okay. Let's keep going on that line then.
But
I owe it to you. To you all.
No, but this is the excitement. I mean, this is new territory. This is what we got to do for part twos, right? We got to.
Exactly.
We can't spill the beans yet.
Exactly.
It's really cool. I feel like we've gone for almost like a toilet break halfay through.
It's cool, right?
Movie, yeah.
It's cool, right?
Yeah. So that was a vibe. I was getting big time. I also really liked. I know you might not have even had this as like you probably didn't think I'd bring this up, but the voice acting with your man, what's his name?
Abraham Thicket.
Abraham, yeah.
80.
With AT. I really liked the sort of staccato way you did it, and it actually was really funny when he was first speaking to him. It was really we are going to, and you will do this, and it was so prepared. It was also creepy because it sounded so scripted the way he spoke. It sounded like he had it all ready to just reel off. Again, it almost reminded me a bit of Camp Hollow in a way that like, who's looking for who? You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Again, it's something you can't say, but like, you know, it's someone looking for something, and when they find it, it's almost like that person is too ready for it. They're too prepared for that. That's kind of creepy. I also like the way that you obviously described how visibly old the guy looked, but even subtle little things, like I really liked the way he said on the telephone. He said, "I spoke to you on the telephone." Now, I don't know anyone under the age of about 60 that would say, I spoke to you on the telephone in this day, in 2019. I think everyone now just says phone, and in the future everyone would just say phone. But that was a really good literary flair. And again, your description of houses and interiors is something that I'm always very envious of. You painted that absolutely perfectly.
Thank you very much.
And when it came to his sort of mental break towards the last little bit, two vibes I was getting. One of them was the Shining. Obviously, like it's the house or the hotel itself that is fucking with you. Excuse me. And then also like the others as well. That scene in the others where Nicole Kidman's running around doing the curtains and it's all sort of covered in the sheets and that.
Yeah.
Getting really big vibes of that.
Yes.
It's really creepy to know that. Or to suspect, to not be sure if it's the house or the character that's going mad, or is the insane thing. Like it could be that house it could be the house itself is sort of dark in some way, but then also it could be him. It could be his own. It could be something that the house could be fine. It could be him running around these rooms that he's clean and everything's normal, but he's going insane. So I really like that, and that's a really good setup to be like, is it the madness within or the madness out?
Where do you think the door goes? Because it's not the same door that the client is behind. You got that right? Yeah. I thought.
No,
but we have seen that door before.
It's not Mr. Benjamin's bunker, is it?
I've seen that door before.
Mr. Benjamin.
Several times.
Oh, it's the door looks a little bit too heavy to be built in the house like that. Yeah, okay. Okay, so it's the door.
We have seen it in Mr. Benjamin's bunker.
Yes,
and we have also seen it in We Live Here.
We Live Here, yeah. That's the one that was too heavy to be in the house, yeah. So it's the same door. Okay, so from what I know, I'm guessing crazy things happen behind it.
Crazy things.
I'm guessing he's not going to find like a second pantry and then go, well, that was weird.
Well, that was weird.
Anyway, chapter 2, and then it will like go on for a whole.
Well, that was weird. Anyway, it was the best job I've ever had in my life.
Yeah.
The guy behind the door, he was great.
Yeah.
Imagine.
No, I'm excited to see.
Good. And I also feel like, I mean, if you would like to rate it now, that's fine. But I almost feel like we should, for 2 parts, we should save.
I totally agree. I totally agree. It will be unfair to rate it now, like in any capacity. In the same way, it'd be unfair to like stop one of our other stories halfway through.
Yeah,
because that's not it. It doesn't matter how long it is. It's still one story.
Exactly. But I like this. I like the space that we can have with
I like the
2
suspense.
parts.
It's a rare feeling to have suspense at the end of one of our videos.
Right.
Right. We're usually sort of
Right.
decompressing, but now I feel the more we talk about it, it's sort of amping it up.
Yeah.
And we have got a few stories in the pipelines that we've talked about. I know me especially. I've got part 2s. I want to do some of my stories, but the suspense isn't there because it's not been written. It's
Exactly.
not even thought of yet. But
And there's a difference between spacing them out as well. Do you know what I mean? Like saying like, oh, we have a part 2, like with the nanny, and then We Live Here. That was a direct.
Exactly, yeah.
But there were 6 videos between that. 6,
Yeah.
Exactly. Like, something nice about kind of having them.
I'm not going to give it a score.
0. There we go, guys. The first ever 0. No score.
Which is weird.
It was that bad that Danny gave it nothing.
It's weird for me to say that I'm not going to give it a score.
It is weird. It's also quite.
But that's
liberating.
It's going to be so hype the next time we do this part 2 the score is going to be.
I will say one thing.
Yeah.
There is a story that not a lot of people talk about that will be very insightful to viewers.
100.
Maybe. Who knows? Maybe. I'm not going to say which one it is.
Is it one of mine? No, I'm kidding.
Maybe.
Well, this is when I really enjoy being like a viewer.
Yeah.
I feel just like the audience right now.
Yeah.
I know nothing. I know absolutely nothing. I'm very, very excited for the
Neither
part
do I.
2, which is going to be the next video. Is what we've got planned, right?
Yes.
Whatever you're seeing this, the next video.
Yes.
Whatever day that is, either Thursday or Sunday, will be the part 2 to
Yes.
Jack's story. So
Yes.
we're very excited.
So this will be a Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
So Thursday you will have part 2 to the old ones. So we'll have the old ones part 1.
Yes.
The old ones
exactly,
part 2.
yeah. That's the plan. Yeah.
And then
Well, no score,
0.
but I guess we can point to the email address right now.
We can, because if you have a story of your own, please send it to ohnostories@gmail.com. We are in the process of doing a live stream, which we will have a very long and lengthy and heartwarming and insightful conversation about ohno and where we want to take it, in particular to the stories that you guys send us, because we've got some really exciting kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's really exciting, and it's. I know we say this every week, but
Yeah, we do.
But it's become more, crystal clear in the past couple of weeks.
Yes.
With a very clear idea, and everyone who's subscribed so far, we're so thankful for you guys, and we want to give this back to you by transitioning to something incredibly new. Everything is going to look different, but also the same.
Yes, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sort of like a folktale. Well, thanks for watching, guys.
Thank
We're
you
gonna
so much.
Blow out the fire now.
What do we blow with?
Well, I don't
The old
know
ones.
what the crux of the story is yet.
Oh yeah, that'd give
You
it
can't
away.
give anything away
That would
yet.
give it away, wouldn't it?
Yeah, we could just say part 2 and blow it out.
Part 2! Goodbye everybody, thank you for stopping by our fire. We've been Jack and Danny, this has been ohno. Take care.
Okay. Bye-bye.